So that is your basic arsenal. Your highs, mids, lows, some stuff you can do from crouching that's not very good. You got really good homing moves to keep them from sidestepping you, so you got to remember those. A lot of moves that just don't track, you wouldn't think about, right? Like, these are moves that you want to abuse, and they just don't track very well sometimes. So your homing moves are really important. Don't forget about those. Your mid-range game is really good. A couple of moves gain priority like that, and up forward 2-1. Down 1 works really good at mid-range, so you use those a little bit more often. They're always good. You should be using them constantly, but mid-range, those do a much better job than, say, the down forward 1 confirm does, right? Still decent range, but nothing like that. And then your heat mode just embellishes a ton of things. You get big follow-ups and big damage from stuff that you were already doing a lot. Down 3 is good. Up forward 4 is good. Now it's even more. Ultimate Heihachi is just ridiculous. 13 frame launcher, safe launchers, plus launcher, you name it. He's just nasty. Again, moves you're already going to do are now just indestructible. So you really want to shoot for that a lot. Heat mode, 3 times. Warrior Instinct, you're gold. So, I mean, you want to save that for a decisive round, maybe. You use it for a comeback if you're down 2. You use it to finish them off if you're up 2. It's a really good tool. So let's look at your actual offense and what you do to attack people. Just running around and throwing out pokes aimlessly doesn't really do a whole lot. The idea is, how do I hit them? You want to use lows to make them start ducking, and then you hit them with mids. You want to use frame traps to make them press buttons at the wrong time. You want to use partial strings, and then finish the string, catch them with a counter hit, stuff like that. So, first off, moves that have frame advantage that you could use a lot. He's got several. First off is just one jab on block. You know, everybody has that. It's really good. You need those a lot. Since 1-1 is -5 now, it's hard to just keep fishing for that. You need to use single jabs a lot more than 1-1 jabs. 1-2-2 stuff can be used for good offense, canceling into fake spins and everything. Definitely has its purposes. There's a lot of variety in the 1-2 string area. You know, forward 2-1 flips. All of this stuff is very different and unique. You can use it a lot, and they'll keep your opponent guessing. This is mental frame advantage. You know, when they do that stuff, they're just not thinking clearly about what you just did. They're likely to be pressing buttons, waiting for an opportunity, and you tag them for it. So mental frame advantage is almost as good as a real frame advantage. Sometimes it's even better. So your jab is really good for that. Back to holding it up is good for plus, but your just frame spark version is even better. Nice, fast, plus on block, wall splats, you name it. So learning to do the just frame charge, definitely worth it. You got a big smack, regenerates your health as well. Cannot underestimate that shit. Charging it all the way up gets you plus. But charging it just right regenerates health. Good stuff. So that even on the normal one on block, it's +2. It's a really good move. Forward 4 is +4 on block. You can do anything you want out of that. Down forward 1 is good. If you get the crouch confirm, you got 15 frames to blast them. Or if you get the launcher, if you want to go for that, you have your stance. So the world is yours with forward 4. I mean, pretty much every Mishima that knocks you down is going to run up and drop one of those on your head, like every time. It's that good. So back 2 is right there now. That's also a super good move. The down forward 1 stuff, being able to hold it and go plus there, and then mix it up with the correct one, that's really good stuff too. They're going to stand there and probably let you just do the normal version of it. And if you charge it up, they're going to let you get away with that, right? They're not going to challenge you. That'd be insane. So you do this, and you end up with another +1 at your disposal, and drop one of these on their head. Up 4-3-4. Take some distance, but man, you get the launch on hit, and if you just get the block stun, that +4 on block stun is really good. The fact that it's real advantage is also very good. Even if it weren't real advantage, this is one of those things that would feel like, oh man, he's +1,000,000. He actually is. So you definitely got to use that to your advantage. So with frame advantage like that, you can basically go for whatever you want. Forward 4 is enough that they cannot interrupt anything that you do that's faster than 13. Right? If they did a duck jab and you did your 13, it would trade. So yeah, they could do that. So if you stick to stuff that's 12, you go for that, right? Or you go for this. They're unsafe, but they don't have to be. You can just go for basic stuff and, you know, cancel. Being plus gives you an opportunity to do some tricky stuff. Harass them with lows. You know, go for this, pop them with a low. Go for this in the stance, hell sweep. Frame advantage lets you go a little bit more than you could. You can take some risks because they can't stop what you're about to do next. But there are limits to what you can do, right? Being +2 is great, but that's not a lot. That just means if they're jabby, your jab wins. Otherwise, you don't want to like just sit there and take this +2 and just go for that in their face necessarily. Depends on the opponent. If they're going to respect your plus frames, then definitely go for this. If they don't, if they get super jabby, then use your own jabs or parry or whatever you want to do, right? Got to learn the read. The frame advantage is good. It puts them in a situation where they have to make a tougher choice, and you have the luxury of pre-anticipating that choice, right? Like, are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? I'm covered for both, you know? I'm prepared for one or the other better than they are. So that's the gist of like frame advantage, is being able to continue your turn. And if it gets blocked or whatever, then you back off and you start to try to punish them. Punish them with this, and boom, you're right back on offense. You got your +4 in the stance, you're good to go, you're cooking. So stances make up a lot of the rest of your offense. Poking into good situations is big, and you can play that all day, right? All this stuff is really good, but the stances are what really gets you much, much more reward. So we covered about what they are and what they do. I just want to talk about how you really apply them in your offense. And that starts with getting into them. So Wind God stance is a lot more accessible. You can do it off of tons of things. 1-2-2, 3-2 does it. Your while standing 4-4 Punisher. And that's where it starts, is the Punishers. While standing 4-4 and 1-2-2. These are only Punishers. Do not do these otherwise. If you block something, use it. Do that and take your stance advantage. Block this. You don't want to go for the wall splat, for example, with 1-1-2. You punish with 1-2-2 and go for stance mix-up. Those are built in, right? You're only going to use those on punish. Don't have to worry about getting them blocked. Forward 3 and forward 4, however, those are a different story. You want to commit so you get this heat engage confirm, or you want to commit so you get like, you want to commit so if you get like the launcher on a croucher with forward 4, for example, you want to commit there, but you can't do that all the time. So you do have to look at what the real advantage is and the mathematics of the situation. And the reality is most of these ways that go into stance are going to be about -2 on block. -2 on block, and the fastest move you can do out of that stance is these one strings that are 12. That's 14 frames. That means everything they do, it's 13, beats you straight up. You're going to lose. So you have to consider that. If you got blocked, you can't just go for that. And if they let you get away with this, then you know they're not going to counter jab you. They'll probably let you get away for more. Start going for hell sweeps and going for the big stuff, you know. Take the time and go for hell axle, get more plus frames, etc. So if they're jabby, start using power crush. Power crush is a good way to back yourself up because these are not really go-to. Forward 4 is better because you still maintain your plus advantage a little bit. +4 with a 12 frame move, they can't beat that out, right? They can't challenge that. Forward 3 into that, they can challenge. You got to get used to that timing and go look at the Google Doc and look at the math for what you're actually getting. 12 frames as fast as you got, but some of the advantage, oof, it's bad. The thing is, though, is you can't just do nothing. You cannot block during this stance, like at all. If you get blocked and you go into stance, you're going to get just launched hard. So you have to do something to just not get launched. And in a lot of cases, you have to do power crush to bail, and it's also risky. So this is a subtle art to learn. When to use stances, when to not. What's really good is your punishers. You know, you're only going to use those on hit anyway. 2-hit things like 3-2 are confirmable. Oh, got the hit, go to stance. But 3-2 on block, not a safe string. Same with forward 2-2. Not a safe string on block. On hit, oh yeah, there we go. There's my stance. But you're risking a -13 just to go into stance. So you got to do that, right? You have to go for a risky move. And if you get the hit, you confirm in the stance. If you go for a non-risky move, but go for a stance anyway, that's risky itself. So it's a balancing act. Learn what's comfortable. Stick with the punishers. Go for forward 4 into stance because it's the most reliable. And then start working in forward 3 into stance. That one gets you good stuff, but it's not as foolproof. So just to recap what you have in the stance, 1-1 is a heat engager, and 1-2 is a wall splat. These are 12 frame startup, really good. 1+2 is your power crush at 18. That'll cover your bases, but if they just do nothing, if you just, did this and right into power crush, -13. Not the worst. Let me do something different next time. Don't go to stance next time. Back it off until they start behaving differently. This is going to get you in trouble going for that 13 every day. You're not really staying safe. You're putting up -13. So you got to retract a little bit and maybe rethink your game plan, and then reapproach. Start going for a low this first time instead of just nilly, or you know what I mean? Going for a low instead of just, you know, power crushing away. Do something different. Do crouch dash and stay there, you know? Duck. That's kind of one of the best things you have there, is crouch dashing into duck. It's faster than being able to block, so keep that in mind too. That's one of your better ways to get out of jail. If they're going to try to jab your stuff, you can do that and maybe counter hit them with a hell sweep. Timing's going to be rough there. So you got to think about that. But being able to crouch dash out of wind fist is pretty good. You get free electrics out of the deal. Awesome. Keep that in mind too. When you do this and you do down forward, the electric is guaranteed. It's a free 5+5 electric. It's the real deal, which is crazy. That you can just do this and hold it that long and come up with electric. That's nuts. I love it a lot. Really good for ducking stuff. So you get a jabby opponent. Not anymore. You get launched. So that's the basic usage for that. Look at your frame advantage. If it's not good, you know, think about some get out of jail options or power crush. And if it is good, you've got, you know, mid launchers and hell axle, etc., etc. Thunder God stance, not as applicable. There's only a few ways to get into it, but this is really powerful. The fact that you can kind of confirm both of them, down 1-2, and sidestep, you can just tap forward and there you go. So you're not going to enter these on block very often. You're not going to just, don't do it, right? If it's blocked, just don't hold forward. So you're pretty much going to get these with the advantage that you need no matter what, which makes it much more dangerous. The fact you go into stance at 13 and your fastest options are 17. So there's not a chance in hell they can do anything about it. You've got tons of advantage. Even the down 3, that's 22 startup. And the difference there is 9. They still can't interrupt that. So if you do this, they cannot interrupt you doing that, which is awesome. And if they try, they get spanked for it. So this becomes really, really good when you know how to do it correctly. Down 1-2's got look at that range. Good God. Amazing range. A quick little sidestep, boink. There you go. I got the hit. Oh, I avoided your move. Go into stance. Eat some Thunder God Fist. Awesome stuff. So Thunder God Fist 1 is safer than usual, but not great. Raijin 2. This is fantastic. High homing launcher, and on block is +10. You get to jab him for free. That's really good. You see the screen break? 1-1-2. Guaranteed. Amazing stuff. Pseudo unblockable, like he used to have out of the old Raijin stance. It used to look just like that, and there was an unblockable version that kind of replicates. 3-2 is good still, safe, mid. They can't interrupt it, and you get hell sweep by just pressing 4. You don't even have to do the crouch dash first. Hell sweep, just like that. It's so fast. So this is a really, really powerful stance. And the fact that mid-range out here, you own this shit with down 1-2, you're going to get this all day. That's going to be just amazing for you once you learn how to get used to that. Good, clean sidestep 2 into the stuff. Yeah, buddy. Let's go. Really good. And the other stance is Wind God Fist, Wind God Step, the crouch dash, Wavu Wavu. This is like every other Mishima. You could watch a litany of videos about how this works. You just dash up and get your you get your mental frame advantage because they're not quite sure what you're going to do. Once you can do it fast enough, it becomes scary. I'm just not that good. It's good for cover and distance, Wavu Wavu, when you're in there, but just don't, I'm too focused on, manually executing the wave dashes. I just get punched in the face a lot, so you kind of have to practice that. But the better you are at Wavu Wavu, the faster you can deliver the mix-up. You know, go for that while standing, go for the hell sweep, go for the electric, right? Those are all great moves, so you got to learn those. Omen Thunder God Fist, or what Thunder God Fist is called, not as good as it's been in the past. It's been a better move. It's not safe. There's no combo. So kind of scratch that one. You want to focus your wave dashes on electrics, which is a high, hell sweeps, which is low, and just doing while standing 4 or while standing 1s, stuff like that if you think you're going to catch them. That's your bulk wave dash offense. Sounds simple, but the more often you can do this, the better. You'll see even top players just stand there and get paralyzed by a fast Wavu Wavu in their face. It's really good. So, all of those combined, frame advantage, mental frame advantage, stance pressure, and all of that, one of the big goals is to lead to counter hits. To get them to press a button at the wrong time. Oh, I'm +4 and you try to challenge me? No, counter hits. That's what you really want. And these are not plentiful, but they're really good. Some things like this back 4, this is just so good, right? You can just poke them, do whatever you're doing, back off a little bit and throw out this back 4. If they tried to attack you, good night nurse. Back 4 is really good. Counter hit launcher, knockdown, safe, excellent. Just like we said before, don't miss. Recovery's crazy when you miss. But that's kind of like it for offensive counter hits to try to bait them into going for this. This is your best one by a long shot. Regular 4 is a little more defensive because it's fast. 15 frames, it's a defensive counter hit, which we'll get to in a sec. But as far as offensive ones, back 4 to lead them into the spacing trap is really good. A couple of built-in strings have counter hit properties, like 1, 2, 4. That's a launcher. Down forward 4, 2. That's a launcher. And back 3, 2, your homing move. That's a launcher. So those are decent. They're not safe string. 1, 2, 4 is a high that can get ducked. Down forward 2 is not safe. Down forward 4, 2 is not safe at -12. And back 3, 2 can get ducked. It's up to you, but the rewards are good. You're getting counter hit launchers if you're just doing this as your homing move all day, for example. You know, you're throwing pokes and you're sidestepping and you're catching this. And eventually, pop, you get your counter hit, totally worth it. Your other offensive counter hits are basically your hell sweeps. One hell sweep into while standing, and you get a combo from it. So counter hit hell sweep launcher. You just kind of have to be prepared to do a single while standing afterward. It's hard to really confirm that and then just do that, but so that's kind of why it's my go-to. I just do hell sweep into that. So if I get my counter hit, I'm ready for the combo. Otherwise, if you just did like, if you did one hell sweep into that, you lose your combo. So you got to work on that too. It's an important wave dash functionality. But now that you get it from the stances too, remember, same counter hits apply. While standing 4-4, mid, all that stuff still applies. Some of your other offensive counter hits are just weaker versions of the ones we talked about. Back 1, 4. You just get that follow up, and down 1, 2 if they fall for that. Same thing, you get a follow-up there. They're not launchers, just follow-ups. So a little bit risky to just throw those strings out. That's not safe, but down 1 is safe. Down 1, 2 is safe, so really, really good there. And if they happen to fall for that counter hit, you get even more damage. Or if they don't fall for counter hit, they just get normal hitted, you're in Thunder God, ready to rock. So those are offensive counter hits. Not a ton. You're going to see his counter hit launcher system is really sparse. That's about it. But as far as playing defense goes, counter hit's are also an important part of that. We just talked about 4. This is a defensive counter hit in my opinion, because this is much more for I'm going for the poking and I'm going to just defend myself. I think they're ready to counterattack me, do this. Or I think they're going to do pokey stuff, bop, 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 bop. I'm going to stick that in there and try to stop them in their tracks. This is a defensive counter hit because of its speed. And again, it's the whole launcher, right? Oops. You get the launcher from it. Good stuff. Safe and all that. So it's a high. But pretty good. In the world where we don't have 11 frame Magic 4s anymore, 15 frame Magic 4, I'll take it. While standing 2 is nice and evasive. If you think you can get in a quick duck in the middle of them doing stuff, or even just in your own offense and just duck right there, let that rip at the right moment, and his little sidesteppy thing will avoid some stuff, counter hit, boom, and you're good to go. You get free follow-ups, it's time to party. And we talked about sidestep too. Just doing a manual sidestep, making them miss. You know, they're going to do 1, 2, 1, 2. Sidestep the second one, pop them with this. If you get that counter hit, whoop, confirmed, 50 damage, just like that. Really easy good. Those are defensive counter hits. But that's about it. The rest of them are 2-hit strings like this we talked about. That's an offensive thing in my book. That's you attacking, trying to make them panic. Defensively, those 3 are about all that you got. You don't do this evasive stuff, right? You block and punish, and then you attack. That's what Heihachi does. So evasively, there are up forward 3, 4 jumps, and up forward 4 jumps. That's about it as far as jumping over lows. He doesn't really have other low crushes. That's it. Nor does he have things that go under highs. Down back 2 is about the only one. Crouch dashes go under highs, but once you do a crouch dash move, you are not ducking anymore. So this, not ducking. As soon as I've input the hell sweep, I'm not ducking, so that doesn't even beat highs. Crouch dash does not technically crouch once you've done something. If you do it nice and slow and then come out of the other side, it ducks, but that's it. Not an evasive character. There's just nothing else. He doesn't do that. He would rather block and punish you. So the name of the game where frame traps are everywhere and you're trying to deal with your opponents, He's not the best at, like, you know, a panic move or get out of jail free card or anything. He can sidestep, but he's better to just take the block and wait for your opportunity to punish better. Don't worry about evasion, just tank, you know, and get him back. Do more damage than they do. To that end, power crushes are really good. If you're getting harassed and you don't have a good way to just, like, you know, panic button like a cans or something, you got power crush. Up back one. This move is now up back one, by the way. It's changed like 5 different times. Standard, mid, power crush, knocks down, nothing fancy, but that does the job. That gets you out of jail if you cannot read the block mid-low situation very well. That works. And you also have the 1+2 out of Wind God Fist, Wind God Stance. That's a power crush that you kind of need to bail yourself out. So that's almost a defensive one. You're going to put yourself in trouble. Well, I mean, they're all defensive, but like I'm saying, you're kind of forcing this. You're going to get yourself in trouble and then necessitate using that to bail yourself out. So that's actually a really, really good one. If you're going to go for the stance a lot, do that and, you know, stop them from counterattacking you. They'll quit eventually. And then it comes to reversals. You don't avoid, you don't go through, you just parry what they're due. There's 2 basic ones, and there's back 1+2. This is a heat engager. Even if it doesn't parry, he does that attack, as you can see. So it's a super long startup, but that whole hand wavy thing, that parries for a very long window. I've not tested its bounds, but it seems to be really good. You can use it like an old conventional parry. As soon as you see them flinch, you know, jab, jab, you can just jab, pop, and it gets it. And I've thrown this out and let them hit me. It works really good. This is a very, very long parry window. It's a heat engager, so you get tons of damage from it and good potential, but it's going to be safe, right? Obviously, it's not going to be safe. But it's still pretty good. You're not going to do parries when you don't think they're going to press buttons. And if you're wrong, you're wrong, right? It's the same with any read. If they didn't press buttons, oh well, you made a bad read. You can't worry about making bad reads, right? Go for it. If you think buttons are the read, go for it. This is a really good way to stop their buttons too. Power crush, same thing, right? If they don't do anything and they punish you, so be it. If they don't do anything and they punish you, whatever. You take your rewards where you get them and you don't worry about it. And the last one is heat mode. When you're in heat mode, you have this thing that parries. This is a slow parry. He only parries once his arm is up. So this is not a reaction parry. This is I'm in heat mode, and I just went for this thing, and I hope that the parry stops you from counterattacking me. So again, both parries take the place of their corresponding power crush, right? You don't need to power crush when you can parry and get the same result. You don't need stance power crush when you're in heat and you have stance parry. That works pretty well too. So that's it. That is Heihachi in an hour-and-a-half long nutshell. Your high, mid, low arsenal, the quality of moves that you have in there, the little finesse techniques that are baked into stuff. Your heat system is really good. It amplifies everything that you do. You want to use it a lot because Warrior's Instinct is incredible. Your frame advantage is good. You have lots of plus moves that are practical. Your stances are straightforward, simple, but really good at what they do. When you learn how to not take bad risks and use the stances appropriately, really powerful. Heihachi is a high-level gameplay character, not just execution-wise for like wave dashes and electrics, but for the mind game of how to execute the plan properly. Really, really good once you get at it. He doesn't have anything you can abuse, stuff you can do over and over and get away with. He has consequences, so you have to be smart. And that's not for everybody, to be honest, right? That's not for your average Dragunov player. They're not into technique and discipline. Heihachi is a different animal in that regard. Counter hits are good, but they're not great. Evasion, lows, not good. He hits you mid and he hits you hard. That's it. That's all you got to worry about. And now he's got a good parry. He's got a good heat system. That's all you need, right?